Welcome everybody, this is the last lesson of the video course in the framework of the EU-funded project eCultus Managing Cultural Heritage in Tourism, the closing of EU project. So let's have a look at today's presentation. We'll see why it is of such importance to have a good and successful closing within the European project. Then we will see how the closing phase happens. You have to do evaluation, you have to do the lessons learned, you have to prepare for possible audits, and then you have to ensure the sustainability of the project, which we have already been mentioning in the previous lesson. So it is important to know how about evaluation. The European Commission describes in the grant agreement technical and financial checks, audits, interim and final evaluations. So whether check, audit or evaluation is initiated before the payment of the balance, the coordinator, balance is the last installment of the money, the coordinator must provide any information, including information in electronic format, requested by the Commission or by any other outside body authorized by the Commission. So, if they do carry out an interim or ex post evaluation or a monitoring missions, to your project, the beneficiary has to provide everything that the European Commission needs in order to get evaluated. If the beneficiary is not able to provide such receipts, such paper, etc., then he will be in trouble and he will be on the obligation to give back the money to the European Commission for the implemented project. So you have to be careful and then to keep all the receipts, the boarding card, the cost, expenses, everything has to be kept within the organization inside and to be, let's say, taken as a proof. If you receive an audit from the European Commission, you can have an audit up to 5 years after completion of the project. So the project closing phase, the evaluation, you have to implement the results measurement on outcome and impact level, sustainability and horizontal level, exchange of good practice enabling learning, and up to 10% of the budget might be designated for the evaluation, and there will be an internal or an external evaluation. What are some good practices in evaluations? You have to define someone who is measuring, the actor who measures. You have to develop a common understanding by drafting the results chain together. You have to share responsibilities and involve measurement expert, and if possible share insights across the project. You have to select indicators, which are the measure to what to measure, the measure saying what you have to measure. Select a few manageable indicators, recognize the importance of intermediate outcomes and use standard reporting indicators. And you have to select how to measure the process. You have to draw on established practices to measure the evaluation, embed measurement from the start, establish a baseline, and you have to stay flexible. Which kind of instrument you can use for the evaluation? You can use the questionnaires, which can be both quantitative or qualitative questionnaire, interviews for the expert focus group target groups. You can check the most significant changes among the target group or the final beneficiary of your project. You can do review meetings among project partners, or also a typical comparative analysis, analyzing target group having used the project results and the target group having not used the project results. Also, the lessons learned are very important in EU project when you are closing the project. The lessons learned describe the written documentation and the systematic collection, assessment, and concentration of experiences, developments, hints, failures, and risks in the project. You have to provide attention and avoidance of these factors may be useful for further projects. So what you have learned, either you implement them in the coming project or then you keep them out. And the lessons learned are often part of the final documentation that you will have to provide to the European Commission. In a well-structured and accessible way, the results might guide similar future projects. And more are these so-called lessons learned or the best practices, part of an integrated knowledge management with the aim to foster experience and avoid failure repetition. You can collect these lessons learned in workshops and focus group, for example, with participants talk on their positive or negative experiences. These are among other possibilities for the lessons learned. Audits. Like already mentioned, the European Commission may order an audit of your grant during the project or at any time up to 5 years after the final payment. It can be a direct audit with the Commission's own staff or an indirect audit with external persons or bodies appointed by the Commission. If systemic errors are found, the Commission may extend the findings of the audit results to non-audited grant agreements or non-audited periods. So they will check a period. If you have done some mismanagement there, then it is possible that the European Commission will check also the other part of your project, and if you're not able to provide proof of payments, of costs, etc., then you will have to pay back the money. And you have to keep every document up to 5 years after completion of the project, because these audits can happen up to 5 years after completion of the project. So the last point is the sustainability. What is the sustainability of the project? Sustainability is defined as the capacity of the project to continue its existence and functioning beyond the end of the funded period. So after project completion, the project should run on itself. The project results are used and exploited continuously. Sustainability of results implies use and exploitation of the results in the longer term from the target group or from the final beneficiary. Some success factors for sustainability: you have to build a network of stable relationships, finding an institutional home where the project will be hosted, where the project results will be hosted. You have to integrate the results in national systems, if possible. For example, you have been developing a curriculum for professionals working in the field of tourism, then you should integrate this curriculum in some national educational system, if possible. You have to develop outcomes of high quality and transferability. Of course, they have to have quality and to be transferable. And finding new funding or commercializing the network, which is also a success factor for sustainability. That's among others. A possible minimum level of sustainability each multilateral project to reach is mentioned here in this point here. You have to provide at least a contact person available for the whole project, of course, but you should also do that for the partner consortium. And also after completion of the project, you will have to provide someone being able to answer questions about the project results and the project itself, also after project completion. The project results should be integrated and systematically used in the partner institutions and disseminated in their local, national, and also, if possible, European environment. We already saw that with the dissemination. You have to disseminate the project results to reach the target group, to let the final beneficiaries, to let them use the project results. The main project results continue to be distributed in their local, national, but also European environment by all partners and can be easily obtained on request. So if someone is requesting the project results at you 3 years after project completion, you will have to provide him access, to grant him access, and then he will be able to use them. And the project website should be maintained and fully operational at least for 3 years after the end of the funding period, but I would say at least for 5, 7, 9 years, because I personally often see websites from interesting European funded projects where then the website is dead, there is no more link, nothing to find, because it has not been upgraded. And this is a pity, because the results may have been interesting for me and also for other stakeholders, but no information is available anymore. And the last point, the exploitation. What is the exploitation? Exploitation is about ensuring that the project results will be actually used by the target group, institutions, professionals, and learners within and beyond the project partnership. How can you achieve that? You have to interact with the stakeholders, you have to develop an exploitation plan, and then you have to have intellectual property right. The main objectives of the exploitation activities are to promote and raise awareness about the project contents, developments, and results, to successfully transfer the results to appropriate decision makers to achieve their sustainable promotion and support, and in particular to convince individual end user to adopt and or apply the results, also after the project and support by its partnership as handed. So you may have understood it. The exploitations goes on the same level as the sustainability. They are two aspects of the same phase. So let's have a conclusion and a facet about what we have seen. Evaluation should be attributed to the partner implementing the best methodology for it, like for example university if you got it about evaluation. You have to ensure sustainability in your project, which gave you a competitive advantage to other entities, consortia applying in the same call for proposal. Plan a good strategy at proposal stage, both for sustainability and exploitation, but also for dissemination. And sustainability and exploitation, but also the dissemination, are always important in the award criteria. So thank you very much for your attention.